Have you ever felt an unseen presence around you? I have, and it was like nothing I could ever explain. The day was just like any other until it wasn't. The house was quiet, too quiet. It was as if the usual hum of life had been turned down and replaced by an eerie silence. Suddenly, the calm was shattered. Objects began to move on their own. A book fell off the shelf. A glass slid across the table. It was as if an invisible hand was toying with reality, manipulating the physical world in ways that defied explanation. I was alone in the house, yet I felt someone, or something, was there with me. This unseen entity, this invisible force, was making its presence known in the most disturbing way. The air grew colder, and a chill ran down my spine. It was as if the room was filled with an icy dread, a tangible fear that clung to every surface. I was being watched. I could feel it. It was a sensation like none other, an overwhelming feeling of being observed, scrutinized by an unseen observer. It was as if 1,000 eyes were fixed on me, yet when I turned around there was nothing. Only the empty room stared back, but the feeling persisted. I couldn't shake the terror that gripped me, the sense of intrusion by this unseen entity. I was a guest in my own home, an intruder in my own space. It was a feeling of violation, a feeling that something sacred had been disturbed. That night I slept with the lights on, clutching a sense of fear and unease. The invisible entity never returned. The objects remained still, the room returned to its normal temperature, and the feeling of being watched dissipated. But the memory of that day, of that unseen presence, lingers. It's an echo of a chilling encounter, a reminder of the unknown. That night, I slept with the lights on, and the unseen entity never returned. But its memory remains a chilling reminder of the unknown. Our reality is like a computer program, and sometimes it glitches. I experienced one such glitch in a supermarket. Now, imagine this. You're in a bustling supermarket, the hum of fluorescent lights overhead, the clatter of shopping carts around you. You're on autopilot, reaching out for your usual can of soup. The cold metal feels real in your hand, its weight solid, its label familiar. But then you blink, and suddenly the can is back on the shelf. The same shelf you just picked it up from. It's as if you never moved it, never felt its weight in your hand. The soup can is back in its place, undisturbed, as if it's mocking your understanding of reality. Confusion washes over you. You look at your hands, empty. You look back at the can, sitting innocently on the shelf. It's disorienting, like a rug pulled out from under your feet. You shake your head, trying to clear the fog. You reach out again, pick up the can. It feels real again. You blink, half expecting it to teleport back. But no, this time it stays. You try to rationalize it. Maybe you zoned out. Maybe you only thought you picked it up. But you know what you felt, the cold can in your hand. It was as real as the confusion clouding your mind now. You put the can in your cart, but it feels different now. It feels like a symbol of something you can't quite understand, a glitch in your reality. You look around, half expecting to see other anomalies, but everything else is normal, as if the world is oblivious to the glitch. You finish your shopping, the incident replaying in your mind. You pay, you leave, but you leave the can of soup behind. It feels tainted now, a reminder of something you can't explain. I left the supermarket, the can of soup left behind, and a glitch in my reality forever etched in my memory. What would you do if you received a phone call from a deceased loved one? I did, and it was an experience I will never forget. It was a day like any other, ordinary and uneventful, until my phone rang. The screen displayed my grandmother's name, a name that hadn't been in my call log since her death 2 years prior. My heart pounded in my chest as I hesitantly answered the call. The voice on the other end was unmistakable. It was her, my late grandmother, her voice as warm and comforting as I remembered it. But this wasn't a sweet reminiscence, it was a real-time conversation. The reality of it was both chilling and heartwarming. She spoke to me, her words cryptic yet somehow familiar. It was a message of love and a warning, an enigmatic puzzle that left me perplexed. She warned me about a future event, something only I could prevent. As quickly as it began, the call ended, the line going dead, leaving me in a stunned silence. The disbelief washed over me like a tidal wave. I checked the call log, and there it was. A record of the call, concrete proof of the supernatural communication. I was left with a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, fear, and a profound sense of loss. The voice of my beloved grandmother, a voice I thought I'd never hear again, had come to me in the most unexpected way. Questions flooded my mind. How was this possible? Was it a glitch in the matrix, a supernatural event, or perhaps something else entirely? I pondered over this for days, weeks, even months, yet the answers remained as elusive as the call itself. The call was brief, but its memory lingers. I still have the voicemail, a ghostly reminder of a call that defies explanation. Even today, I find myself replaying the message, trying to decipher its meaning, a puzzle that remains unsolved. So, what would you do if a deceased loved one called you? Would you believe it, or would you dismiss it as a figment of your imagination? I still have the voicemail, a ghostly reminder of a call that defies explanation. Time is a constant, or so we believe, but I experienced a time slip, a moment when time seemed to fold onto itself. It was a day just like any other. The sun was high, and I was going about my usual routine. Suddenly, I began to feel a strange sense of familiarity, a feeling that I had already lived this moment. There I was, in the midst of the mundane, when the hands of time began to spin backwards. The hour that had just passed unfolded before me once again, minute by minute, second by second. I found myself in the same places, having the same conversations, and doing the same actions that I had already done. It was as if I was trapped in some strange loop, reliving the same hour over and over again. The feeling was surreal. I was experiencing déjà vu in real time. It was like being in two places at once, living in the present while also reliving the past. It was as if reality had bent around me, creating a ripple in the fabric of time. I tried to break free from the loop, to do something different, to change the course of events. But no matter what I did, the same hour repeated itself. It was like being stuck in a time warp where every action was predetermined and every moment was a replay of the past. The feeling of confusion was overwhelming. I questioned my sanity, my perception of reality. But as suddenly as it started, the time slip ended. The hour that had repeated itself ended, and time moved forward once again. The world around me returned to normal, but I was left with an unsettling feeling. I had lived an hour twice, experienced a glitch in the matrix of time, and though the world moved on, I was left with a memory, a story that defied the laws of nature. Time slipped back to its normal flow, leaving me with a story that defies the laws of nature. Do you believe in ghosts? I didn't, until I saw one myself. It was an ordinary day. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the landscape. I found myself standing before an old, abandoned house. Its darkened windows were like vacant eyes, staring back at me, concealing the mysteries within. Intrigued, yet slightly apprehensive, I stepped through the creaking wooden door. The air inside was thick with dust, muffling the sound of my footsteps. The house was eerily quiet, as if holding its breath, waiting. As I ventured deeper, I felt a sudden, inexplicable chill, a cold that seemed to seep into my bones, making every hair on my body stand on end. The temperature had dropped significantly, a common occurrence in the presence of the supernatural. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. A figure, translucent and shimmering, stood at the end of the hallway. It was an indistinct form, neither man nor woman, old nor young. Its presence was paradoxical, both terrifying and fascinating. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at the apparition, my mind racing, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The figure didn't move or make a sound. It just stood there, a silent spectre in the gloom. Its presence filled the house, a tangible reminder of the life it once lived. I was overwhelmed by a wave of emotions, an amalgamation of fear, curiosity, and a strange sense of respect for the entity before me. In that moment, I understood that ghosts aren't just figments of our imagination or stories told to scare children. They are echoes of the past, lingering in places they once called home, yearning for recognition, for remembrance. The apparition vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving me with a story that would chill anyone to the bone. Ever seen something disappear right before your eyes? I have, and it was a car on a highway. Now, imagine this, you're on a long drive, the sky is a perfect shade of blue, the sun is shining brightly, and the road ahead seems endless. Suddenly a car appears in your rearview mirror, moving at a pace faster than yours. You keep an eye on it, expecting it to overtake you any moment now. but then in the blink of an eye, it's gone. This isn't a trick of the light or a momentary lapse of attention. You check your mirrors again, look over your shoulder, even slow down a bit, hoping that the car would reappear. But nothing. The car that was so distinctly there a moment ago is now nowhere to be found. It's as if it simply vanished into thin air. You feel a rush of adrenaline, your heartbeat quickens, and a sense of panic sets in. You're alone on the highway, with no other vehicles in sight, and a car has just disappeared. You begin to question yourself, did I imagine it? Was there really a car? But you know what you saw. It was a tangible, solid object. It was real. And then, the frantic search for explanations begins. You think of logical possibilities. Maybe it was a mirage. Perhaps the car took an exit you didn't notice. Or could it be that you're just tired and hallucinating? But none of these reasons seem convincing enough. The more you think about it, the more you realize that you've experienced something extraordinary, something that defies the laws of nature and reality. It's as if you've encountered a glitch in the matrix, an anomaly that has left you questioning the very fabric of existence. The car never reappeared, and I was left questioning the nature of our reality. After all, if a car can disappear on a highway, what else is possible in this fascinating, complex, and often unpredictable world we live in? Shadows are just absence of light, right? Not always. Picture this. You're home alone late at night. The only source of light is the flickering glow from the television. You're engrossed in your favourite late-night show when suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you see a movement, a shadow, but not from any discernible source. It's a shadowy figure, humanoid in shape, moving across your living room wall. You blink, thinking it's just your imagination playing tricks on you. But when you open your eyes, the figure is still there. It's moving, shifting, almost like it has a life of its own. Your heart starts to pound in your chest, your breath quickens, and a sense of fear washes over you. You switch on the lights, hoping it would dispel the shadow, but it doesn't. The figure stays, becoming more defined, more real. The fear turns into confusion. You know shadows are just the absence of light, but what is this? It doesn't make sense. You're facing something that defies logic, something that challenges everything you know about light and shadow. You keep staring at the shadowy figure, trying to make sense of what you're seeing. And then it dawns on you. Not all shadows are harmless. Some shadows, like the one in your living room, are entities, beings that exist in the thin line between the physical and the ethereal. The realization sends a chill down your spine. You're not just dealing with a shadow, but a shadow person. And then, as the first light of dawn breaks, the shadow person disappears, as if it was never there. The shadow people disappeared with the break of dawn, leaving me with a story that sends shivers down my spine. After all, if shadows can have life, what else is possible in this mysterious, baffling, and often terrifying world we live in? Have you ever looked at a doll and thought it was alive? What if it actually was? Imagine you're a parent and you've just bought a beautiful vintage doll for your child. It's delicate, with porcelain skin, glassy eyes, and a quaint old-fashioned dress. Your child loves it instantly and it quickly becomes a favourite toy. But then strange things start to happen. You hear giggling when no one is around. You find the doll in places you didn't leave it. Doors open and close on their own. You brush it off as your child playing tricks, but then you start to notice it too. The doll's eyes seem to follow you around the room. It's always in a different pose when you walk in. The house feels colder, heavier. Your child starts having nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night screaming about the doll. It's then you realise something is wrong. This isn't just a doll, it's something more, something sinister. You decide to get rid of it, to bring back the peace in your household. The day you remove the doll, the strange occurrences stop. The house feels lighter, warmer. Your child sleeps peacefully at night. The doll is gone, but its memory lingers. A chilling reminder that sometimes playthings can play back. The doll is now gone, but its haunting memory serves as a creepy reminder that the supernatural can be lurking in the most unexpected places. After all, if a doll can be haunted, what else can be possessed in this strange, unexplainable, and often spine-chilling world we inhabit? Ouija boards are just a game, right? I thought so too until one night. You're at a friend's house, and someone suggests playing with a Ouija board. It's all fun and games, a harmless way to pass the time. You each place your fingers on the planchette, laughing and joking as it moves across the board. But then it starts spelling out a name none of you recognise. The laughter fades, replaced by an eerie silence. The planchette keeps moving, spelling out a message, "I am here." Suddenly the room feels colder. The lights flicker and you feel a presence, a weight in the room. You try to dismiss it, to laugh it off, but the fear is palpable. You end the session, but the feeling doesn't go away. That night, you can't shake off the feeling of being watched. Every creak, every shadow sends chills down your spine. You try to convince yourself it was just a game, but the fear lingers. You lock the Ouija board away, vowing never to touch it again. But the memory haunts you, a chilling reminder of the night you invited something unseen into your life. The Ouija board is locked away, but its memory haunts me to this day. After all, it's easier to dismiss the supernatural when it's not spelling out messages in your living room. Staircases are meant to lead somewhere, but what if one doesn't? Picture this. You're in an old building, walking up a narrow spiral staircase. You've been climbing for a while, but the top never seems to come into sight. The walls close in around you, and the steps beneath your feet seem to multiply endlessly, spiraling upwards into a void. It's as if you're trapped in an Escher painting, climbing an impossible staircase that loops back onto itself. Panic sets in, your heart pounding in your chest, but you keep climbing, driven by an irrational hope that the next step will be the last. But it never is. Just when you're about to give up, to accept that you're trapped in this endless climb, you reach the top. You stumble out onto the landing, gasping for breath, the solid ground beneath your feet feeling strange after the endless climb. The staircase is just a staircase now, but I can't shake off the memory of that endless climb. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the things we take for granted can turn into our worst nightmares. Trains take you places, but what if one takes you nowhere? Imagine this. You're standing on a deserted platform, the chill of the night air seeping into your bones. Suddenly, a train pulls into the station, the screech of its wheels echoing in the still night. It seems out of place, an old steam engine, puffing clouds of smoke into the cold air. You get on, compelled by a force you can't explain. Inside, the train is dimly lit, the flickering lights casting shadows that dance across the faces of the other passengers. They all seem to be from different eras, their clothes outdated, their expressions blank. A sense of dread fills the air, the silence only broken by the clattering of the train on the tracks. You reach your stop, or so you think, and get off, stepping out into the familiar surroundings of your city. The train station is just a regular station now, but the memory of that ghost train still haunts me. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the journeys we embark on can lead us into the unknown, leaving us with experiences that defy explanation. Have you ever picked up a hitchhiker in need of a ride? What happens when the one in need isn't from this world? Picture this. You're driving down a deserted highway, the headlights of your car cutting through the darkness. Suddenly, you see a figure on the side of the road, thumb outstretched, a hitchhiker. You stop, offering a ride. They get in, their face obscured by the shadows. Conversation is sparse, their voice a mere whisper, carried away by the wind. As you reach a particularly desolate stretch of road, you glance in the rearview mirror, and the seat is empty. You pull over, heart pounding. The car door never opened, but the hitchhiker is gone. Panic turns into confusion. Confusion turns into fear. You drive away, faster now, the empty highway stretching out before you. I still drive that road, but I never stop for hitchhikers anymore. It's a chilling reminder that some encounters aren't what they seem, and sometimes the people we try to help might be spirits lost in time, hitching a ride to the other side. Each of these tales, from the invisible entity to the vanishing hitchhiker, are just glimpses into the vast sea of unexplained phenomena that exist in our world. They challenge our perception of reality, stretching our understanding of what we believe to be possible. Every glitch, every phantom call, every time slip, every ghostly apparition, every disappearing car, every shadow person, every haunted doll, every Ouija board, every unending staircase, every ghost train, and every vanishing hitchhiker, they all tell a story. They are the echoes of the unknown, whispering to us from the edges of our understanding. So, as we conclude our journey into the supernatural, it's important to remember that the world we live in is filled with mysteries that defy explanation. It's these mysteries that remind us to keep an open mind, to respect the unknown, and to continue exploring the world around us with curiosity and wonder. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey. Remember, the world is full of mysteries. Keep exploring, stay curious, and most importantly, stay safe. After all, who knows what you might encounter on a lonely stretch of road in the dead of night?